So although I might be a little bit late to the party, maybe a couple hours late, I love doing these reactions after a episode of Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. And given that Friday Night SmackDown had a pretty eventful conclusion to this episode, I thought, why not? Let's talk about it. I have feelings and I want to share them with you guys. DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa are your new WWE Tag Team Champions after defeating A-Town Down Under, Grayson Waller, and Austin Theory. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought initially when they had won the titles at WrestleMania, I thought, okay, great, this is going to give them a little opportunity, a little bit of a push as a tag team, giving them something to do until their eventual split. I will say, though, their title reign has really been lackluster. It really left me wanting a little bit more from what they were giving us. And given that DIY is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite tag team on the roster right now, I'm so elated. I'm so excited that they now have the ball and they can run with it as the WWE Tag Team Champions. And I thought, what better of an arena, what better of a crowd to do it in front of than Toronto? If you know DIY, you would know that their association with Toronto runs all the way back to 2016 when they had NXT TakeOver Toronto, and DIY defeated the Revival, now known as FTR, for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And if that's one thing about pro wrestling that I love, it's the poetry. You know, if you really pay attention, especially with the climate of WWE nowadays, if you pay attention to those minor details, you can find that there's these callbacks. One thing that got me popping during the match, we saw a moment when there was a hot tag, and then Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano both teamed up to do the Shatter Machine on A-Town Down Under. And I pointed to my brother, I said, that's FTR's move. And I thought, what a great callback because of that 2 out of 3 falls match back in 2016, and even down to the finish when you had both Ciampa and Gargano having their submission holds simultaneously and ultimately getting one of them to tap out so they can win the matchup. I thought, what a great opportunity, what a great chance to have a moment, especially for someone like Gargano and Ciampa who haven't really had, I don't want to say a fair shake on the main roster, but they've been real great role players when it comes to the presentation of the product. And now giving them this opportunity, giving them this reward, really, because I thought Gargano and Ciampa have been some of the more consistent workers in the last year. Certainly ever since coming up to the main roster, I thought, I hope that Triple H is able to fit them into his overall scheme of the WWE landscape. And I think combining them as a tag team was the way to go. I think they complement each other both styles-wise and just chemistry-wise. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a long and fruitful, successful tag team title reign, especially given that we just have a new set of World Tag Team Champions on Monday Night Raw, because the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and JD McDonough have won the tag titles. So the tag team scene has got a little bit of a facelift, a little bit of a new coat of paint, if you will. So again, very excited for DIY, a great matchup. And I remember talking to my brother during SmackDown, and I said what I really enjoy and appreciate about these episodes of Raws and SmackDowns is that they're having these title matches, these main events that are really elevating the importance and the significance of each episode. It makes you want to tune in to another episode of Friday Night SmackDown and see maybe something's going to happen, what championships are going to change hands, or what progressions are we going to be taking in regards to a certain story. I know last Monday Night Raw, we had the women's title, which was Liv Morgan defending it against Zelina Vega, which I thought was a good match. I had fun with it. I love both workers, and the story that they're telling between Dominic and Liv, I don't know about you, but I'm a fan of because it's something different, it's something fresh. Combining that with what we saw with DIY, the crowd was electric. They were hot. You would have had me thinking this was an NXT event back from 2019 and 2018. Regardless, great call. I think it was a great call to crown them as the new tag team champions. Like I said, I'm looking forward to what we're going to be seeing from DIY and who are the challengers that are going to step up to contend with the new tag team champions. But of course, I would be remiss to not talk about that ending segment, including Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. Flat out saying that Roman Reigns was not man enough to successfully defend the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 40, and that Solo Sikoa is taking responsibility as the new tribal chief, that he hopes that everyone, including Cody Rhodes, will now acknowledge him, claiming that he will be the one to bring back the WWE Undisputed Championship back to the Bloodline, and even going so far as to say that if Roman Reigns wants that title, he's going to have to take it off of Solo. Very I thought it was well done. It was a very compelling, very well done segment for the Bloodline. I was beginning to worry, were they not going to have them in any capacity? I know obviously you're not going to have them on every episode, but in no capacity were we going to acknowledge what the Bloodline has become. With the introduction of Jacob Fatu and obviously the elevation of the Gorillas of Destiny with Solo Sikoa, the progressions of the Bloodline are moving. We have all the pieces that we need for this, Bloodline Civil War 2.0 type of deal. And given the shots that Solo Sikoa has thrown now at Roman Reigns, I think it's fair to say that SummerSlam might be the event that we see a returning Roman Reigns to confront his cousin Solo Sikoa. If not, maybe Jimmy Uso at the very least. But I think SummerSlam for sure, something's got to give. Someone will appear, and we're going to be moving forward with this storyline. I think ultimately at WrestleMania, that might be where we get Solo versus Roman, perhaps. I think they're going to play the long game here. Because aside from that, what other event is that going to happen at? I think War Games Survivor Series is going to be reserved for Bloodline versus Bloodline, but maybe a one-on-one matchup. Royal Rumble? I don't know. I don't think it'd be Royal Rumble. I don't think they'd save it for, a B-level event. I think it's either going to be at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, but it all depends. WrestleMania is still months and months away. We don't have to worry about that yet. Let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. Again, what an episode of Friday Night SmackDown. The main event is really what I took away from it. DIY, your new tag team champions. And man, I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun covering these videos, especially with these late night uploads and really just filling in the opportunity to voice my reaction, voice my opinion on what I saw. But guys, go ahead, comment down below. What did you guys think of today's SmackDown? What are your thoughts about DIY as the new tag team champions? Don't forget this video a like, share, and a subscribe to keep up to date with all the pro wrestling content that I produce on this channel. And of course, with that being said, my name has always been Jose Ramos Jr., and I will catch you guys in the next video.